Okay. So, other than the intro, we did a story on with Cookie and Gaz doing another story about a race called Uterans.
Okay.
And that I can get that video over to you if you want to watch it. So far in the game, you guys have done some of your domestics, and Kodrog has wandered off to go talk to the sailmaster, and so we're ending with him. And now, I gotta fix myself. I forgot my camera.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I was going to.
This is camera magic here. And I'm big again.
Well, this is happening. Hello, chat. How are you? Haven't seen you since last Monday. How's it going? Yeah, woo!
Woo. All right.
Woo! It's funny. I read text in a very sarcastic tone.
Yeah.
It's my bane in life. So whenever I read it, I'm just like, woo. Like, even though I know it's exciting.
Exactly.
Now that it's October, all the woos are just ghost noises.
Ooh! Spooky woos.
Can
That's
you do
fair.
that? Yeah, I guess you could. And do it like that. Spooky woo.
Spooky woo.
You gotta differentiate. Gotta make that happen. So,
Halloween.
Kodrog, the sailmaster leaves to go tell the captain what you guys have talked about. What did you want to go do?
So I need to speak with Thomas.
Oh, I forgot to. I apologize. Pause real quick.
Oh.
I got to take a couple steps back. She says, if you can get this done, there is a sailmaster mate position that I do need filled.
Ooh.
Oh man. So, I mean, like, today's a day and age that might be unethical, but
Let me think about that. Like,
Exactly. I mean, nowadays, that's not okay. This is not how these things are done. People have to give you a resume. There's an interview process. You don't just...
you there, man with a beard. You will be my next, number 2. Like, congratulations. Here's 5 gold. Get started. Like,
oh goodness.
So-
Okay.
what position on the boat exactly would you be able to obtain?
Well, so right now I'm a rigger, which is like
Yeah.
entry level, kind of like masked monkey business.
So you'd get a promotion.
Yeah, so it would be up to sailmaster's mate.
Ooh. Ooh. So spooky news. It's October.
Yeah, so after Master Bond walks off, I will go and find Thomas.
All right. I'm assuming at this point in time, Thomas and Bassianus are in the kitchen. It's mid-morning. So because the ship left so early, Paige, Bassianus was on ship. The captain is rather lenient. Arthur isn't. Arthur doesn't like the fact that there is a passenger, we're using air quotes, passenger on board. Arthur thinks that Bassianus should be doing work, while the captain realizes he's not getting paid and he's not really eating too much more, so he's not too worried about it. And it kind of turned a blind eye to Bassianus even being there. So Bassianus enjoys the leisure of a cruise, while at the same time not having to do anything for it.
He would.
So I'm assuming you two have met up to, as I said earlier today, before you had joined with us, that you were going to hook up with Bassianus for its hair grooming time or something. So I'm assuming you guys went to the...
Are we going to a salon?
No, I'm assuming that part of daily domestics is also grooming and keeping care of yourself, and so you guys were going to be trimming like his hair, getting basically a haircut. So he's going to pull out his hair out of the braids and whatnot, and get it combed and brushed and then trimmed, and then that was going to get cleaned up and thrown away by Cookie. Hopefully, it gets thrown away by Cookie.
Yeah, that are put into this gruel that she has. I don't know what she puts in there.
I have a list. Do you want to hear it?
Oh God, no!
Let's start with laundry.
This is why Thomas doesn't eat on the ship. Yeah, I just imagine Thomas would be helping him out with that, and he makes a comment like, "You just have so much hair. I don't understand where it begins and where it ends. So I'm just gonna, you just pull back everything, and I'll just help you cut." This is why I keep things short. That's lazy. It looks really good, so.
All right, so Kodrog, this is what you walk in on.
I'm probably braiding. Thomas is probably braiding Bassianus's locks right now. He's probably really good at that.
And this is not in the mess hall, right? They're not grooming there.
No, I think it would be. I think it would be like out of the way on the docks, probably. I would imagine Bassianus likes the wind in his hair and everything like that. He's very majestic. So.
Oh, nice. Okay, so all right. Actually, yeah. So I'll find you guys on the deck, where you're diligently working on braiding Bassianus's fur hair back together. And I'm a dwarf. I know all about braids, so I'll join in and try to be helpful with the braids.
Do you? I don't mean to be racist, but do you bring like a stool or? But imagine Bassianus is pretty damn tall.
I kind of assumed he would sit down for that kind of treatment.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, he would be. He would be. That's true. You got me there.
Gosh, you just,
do you just walk up and start doing it?
Oh no, I
Be right back.
Swagger up and lovingly caress the fur and just start to just fluff it a little bit and just feel it. And, no, I know.
I was gonna say, I feel like Bassianus would just kind of give you this look, like it's just very confused, and Thomas would just be like, "Ignore him. This is what he does."
No. I come up, I come down, and I kind of just grab some like the hair next to the one that you're braiding.
Yeah.
And I'm like separating it. Like, you've got to separate it. I'm gonna start imitating you, but then I lean in and I'm like, Thomas. Sorry, that was
your dog's really excited about this conversation.
Yeah, the ship's dog is excited.
Maybe that's your cat, and it's just mimicking the dog. I'm sorry, Thomas. Thomas will kind of look at him and he goes, "Yes, my swell friend. What is it that you need?"
The sailmaster has a plan to get us to catch this ship out in the void when they breach, but we need more wind. Is there? Can you? Then I hold my fingers up and start wiggling them in the air. Can you do anything with that?
Gives you this blank look as you do this gesture of magic.
That's a universal sign for two things. Do you cast magic? And I don't know what else. What could it be?
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
I've got spirit.
Oh man, let's see. Indeed, I do. I actually do. Yeah, Thomas will. He'll groan and he'll pull out his spell book and he'll flip through pages. And this book is like leather branding, no writing on the cover, no writing on the binding at all. It's just locked up he'll pull out the strip and everything, and he'll flip through a page and goes, "Yep, I thought I forgot it, but I have it." And he'll close his book and he'll be like, "All right, when exactly do you need this?"
So, all discussing the win with the Sailmaster. So, I'm gonna think back to the plan.
Yeah.
And try and logic out where I think the best place for this extra wind speed would be for us to get where we need to get our leg up.
There you go. Would that
Max,
be?
Do you want me to make some kind of a?
Would that be like navigations or mathematics or anything like that for finding out how to move these sails correctly? Match up with them?
It would be navigation.
Cool. Right,
I cannot help you. I mean, I can, but it would be maxed out at 10.
It's alright, I got it. Oh. I don't get it. 11.
I don't know if Bassianus has navigation either. Does Bassianus have navigation?
No.
Yeah.
He's not a pirate.
No, he's very much a land man, I think. He might have crewmanship. I don't know. He's really good with people. So
continue.
Yeah, so I got an 11 on a navigation roll. I know as a player that's not good, but as a character, would I feel comfortable in any knowledge that I got with an 11?
You have never experienced using magical wind to help move a ship along or to modify any amount of anything. You are out of your element and you're not sure exactly how this applies. That being said, I mean, maybe there's a level of confidence because this is what the Sailmaster asked for. Where it would fit in, you think now would be good. I mean, as far as that goes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I feel like Thomas would be very, this is evocation, and he basically was raised on this.
Yeah.
Would he have a solid understanding of how this spell works? Like, basically the description of it and how he can control it and be like, okay, if it gets out of... Like, he can't just... It's not just to be like, poof, breeze, and things go to shit. You do realize that this is extremely powerful. And it's going to come from this direction wherever I cast it from, and I'm going to be pushing it into a direction. And or is it going to be like, just cast it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, would he have an understanding of, like, how it's going to affect this other than pushing it?
What spell is this again?
Breeze.
Breeze, like gust of wind, or is it called breeze specifically?
It's evocation.
A 0th level evocation?
Yep. I have it written down, so I'm guessing it's a thing.
yeah, so it's a cantrip. Do you have that cantrip memorized right now?
Wait, I'm sorry?
Do you have that cantrip memorized right now?
I do.
Okay, so means it hit it a bunch, and it could provide maybe half a knot worth of speed, which would be a boost to the ship. When you hit the void, that's a different number because there's a lot less friction caused by the water. That's, the water slows you down less. Your breeze spell will become a little bit stronger, but you're going to be standing there constantly whipping out this cantrip. So it's not like I do it once or twice and it's done. We're good for the day. Yeah. This is an act of constant vigilance to get this going. Could you increase the speed of the ship? Yeah, it would be great. Your arms would get tired after a while.
Yeah, I feel like Thomas would be like, okay, I can do this, but I can't do it every single second. I'm gonna have to wait sometimes, and I will be fatigued afterwards, and it's yeah, I can do it. It will take a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. That bridge work was impressive. So, I mean, if you can do anything like that with the wind,
Uh,
like whip up a storm or something.
no, that would destroy this entire vessel. That's the only thing that I have at the moment that I am looking at right now. Yeah. That's the really only thing that I could do at this very moment.
So if you think about it, the spell itself allows you to create maybe like a quarter or half a knot worth of wind. In the void, that half knot is, and consistency is going to be really good because it'll help propel the ship. So like if the wind's going at 2 knots, and the ship will be going at 2 knots, your little breeze will increase it to 2.5. You know, that's a speed boost. Small one.
It's something. I feel like it would be something. Huh. Let's see. You know, I feel like Thomas would mention, like, you can help, but if you give me a couple of minutes, I could probably whip something up in my spell book and or find something. Mainly because Paige add level 3 spells to her list. So, I mean, what? I have things written. So, you know. But yeah, I think at this very moment, this is all he can do.
There's a first level spell called Gentle Breeze. Is this the one you were talking about?
No, it's a level 0 spell. Apparently. I just, on my sheet, I just have it called Breeze. Hold on, I'm on the spell list page, I can look at it.
Yeah, because if it's a first level spell, Gentle Breeze, that stuff lasts for an hour. So it's like, cast, walk away. I'm done.
Evocation.
Which would be good.
Breeze. Creates a light wind that blows against the target from
a direction of your choice. Grants a +2 circumstance bonus to saves versus very hot conditions, severe weather. Yeah, this lasts for an hour.
Is it summer?
Yes, it is summer.
We are out on sea, too. I feel like that would have a bonus of some sort. Because of the wind on the water.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can use this to create a breeze that will blow against the target. You put the target as... unfortunately, if you target something, it's going to be about man size. You can't target the ship. There's an actual feat and a spell that allow you to target a whole ship. And that spell is 4th level, and that feat has some requirements. But if you get the feat...
There is... Yeah.
So... Gentle Breeze is the spell, and I think this is a good one.
Yeah, the other thing is a level 3 spell called Air Geyser. Blast of Air deals 2d6 damage, bludgeoning damage, and knocks opponents upward. I would imagine Thomas is looking through his book, and he's like, no, not that. No. Like... let's see here.
Oh yeah, that one would be awesomely powerful to damage the ship some.
Yeah, that's another thing that he's thinking. Because he's like, wall of wind.
All right, the last option is summoning an air elemental.
Can I even do that? Oh, I can. I'm sorry. I'm so used to being a sorcerer. So, no, I think for now to keep, Paige's fault of not writing down level 3 spells and everything, because I think he'll just cast Breeze until he gets tired, and then he'll be like, okay, I'm taking a break. Like, gather me when you're done. I'm sleeping.
Okay, so Gentle Breeze is a first level spell, so you only get so many of those. But it lasts for an hour, so you'll be able to cast it and gain an hour worth of a Gentle Breeze.
Yeah.
And so you can cast it, walk away, come back another hour, and spend another first level spell and do it repetitively. But at some point, you're going to have to stop and do an 8-hour rest to get your first level spells back. So, How many first level spells do you have?
I don't know.
Okay, as a caster, go ahead.
Well, I'm guessing, because I am a level 3 wizard, I am guessing that I should know this, because I recently looked at it. I'm sorry, team. This is my third time playing Pathfinder and a different class.
No, it's fine. I got you covered. Fam. What was your intelligence?
I am super smart. I am... Hold on. Da-da-da-da. That's my skills. Intelligence. 8. I am very smart.
You had 18?
18.
So you have a total of 3 first level spells. And
So I can do it 3 times.
You can do it. You can do it 3 times. Did you specialize in any particular school of magic?
I did, and that's I think I specialized in evocation.
So you can do another evocation spell, so you can cast the spell 4 times.
Sweet.
And did you choose to have either a familiar or a arcane object?
I think we originally chose familiar, from what I remember, because I was like, oh, I could have Bassianus and like a dragon at my side.
But I don't think we ever dealt with it, so I mean,
No.
You could do the arcane item. With an arcane item, the arcane item can be used to store or recast another spell, if I remember correctly.
I think we'll do arcane items, since I just mentioned he has a tome on him.
That sounds great.
And I know that it can be a book, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be his spell book. Plus, I already had Bassianus. He's kind of already my familiar. Kind of sticks to my side.
No, he is not your familiar. He is your friend. You cannot cast
He's my buddy.
He's your buddy. You cannot cast magic through your buddy.
I mean, I can enlarge him. That came out wrong. Don't get your minds out of the gutter, guys. I can cast enlarge person.
Yes, you can.
Not other. Fun fact, if you ever want to have fun with Pathfinder spells, do top 100 spells that you would use during sex. It's really fun to do with your friends.
Whoa! Bonnet, I'm just used to cast spells, wizard.
Fireball. Just to spice things up.
Yeah, I mean, light those candles somehow. There's a lot of spells that like my friends and I came up with one time. For that, because it's like, oh, there's grease, there's animated self or something like that, or mirror image, so you can cast more of one of yourselves. Like,
whoa!
There's a lot.
I would send one of them to work.
Mm.
Be like, I'm staying home playing video games. You go do the yard. You go do the dishes. You go to work.
I think I took
Really
that.
practical.
I think I took that for, or I'm planning on taking that for Thomas, because I had it on my sorceress, and it is so awesome. It's so bomb. I love it. I had it on my sorceress, and I used it multiple times, and it saved her life numerous times.
Yeah. Okay, so I looked into it. You have 3 spells based upon your caster. Your specialization gives you a 4th spell, which must be evocation, and your book allows you to cast another spell that you have in it once. So you could do 5 breezes in one day, which that would last up to 5 hours worth of gentle breeze. And a ship is designed to take advantage of all that extra wind.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, I think Thomas will just do that, but he'll
All right, so let's roleplay this part out.
Yeah. So yeah, Thomas will he'll pull out his book, flip through it, and he goes, "Yep. I have the perfect spell to use for this. You don't really know what time that this is going to happen. Like, I just do it and we're good. It's not going to get us in trouble.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, maybe don't do it in front of the captain.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
Captain's got to realize at some point that I kind of saved our asses at some times.
yeah, but
To be fair, I damaged that bridge, but they can fix it. I could fix it. There's mending.
I think it'll be fixed by the time they welcome us back to this port.
I'll just hide my face. But yeah, I'll I can do that right now actually. So I'll find a good Thomas will find a good spot to get most of the sails. How many people are on the deck right now?
Being that it's prior to lunch, I'm going to say there's about 6 people on deck.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll a dice, and if I roll better than a 15, one of them is the captain.
Oh, good.
This
Please
dice I'm rolling is my favorite D20, and it's a 15. So yeah, as you stop to look around, you see the captain on the forecastle. He's got his spyglass out. He's looking ahead.
Oh. All right. Well, as long as he's looking away from me, I guess, and this is for a good cause. Thomas will stand to get the as much sails as he could. That was my description of sails with my hands. And he'll do some magic wavy things with his hand and really focus on a certain part where he can get all the sails, and he'll just cast it.
Okay.
And it's really refreshing, I bet. I don't know how powerful it is, but I bet it's really refreshing for a hot summer day.
Considering you guys are right now cutting with the wind, which is making you guys move away from the shore, everybody's hair just whips quickly, if you have it or not, and your clothes whip and everything. It causes the captain to stop as he looks to the back end of the ship, as he too is being consumed by this little zephyr. And the captain will call out, Bon, Master Bon, we've picked up some wind speed. Should we change course? And he's like hustling down into the boat. I'm going to just assume immediately he failed his perception because he was looking elsewhere.
Okay. That's fair. I just imagine as he calls out, Thomas is like, "Dang, I'm normal." Like keeps his hands to the side.
All right. And quick glance around from the rest of the crew. Everybody else is definitely taking like, oh hey, it's some wind. Back to work. Wind is normal on the boat.
Yeah. So I will now wait an hour, and after Thomas is done, he'll be like, "Give it an hour," and he'll literally like pull up a chair and sit up and kick up his feet and open up this book. He's like, "I'll do it in another hour." Like.
Okay. All right, John, what did you want to do?
Oh, I'm finishing up Bastianus's braids because Thomas has got to work some magic. So, I'm getting to the very end of one braid when the wind kicks up and pulls it out of my hand and like frizzes it up a little bit. So I gotta undo some and go back a little bit. Yeah. I think that it looks even better than it ever has. I say, as I do the last clasp on his little braid and pat them all down.
Go ahead.
I really want there to be a roll for this for some reason. How good is it?
Okay.
It would be charisma based.
Wait, braiding is charisma based?
Yes.
Oh no.
I don't think I'm good at charisma either because I'm a wizard. I don't really need charisma. I don't think. I have a 14, and I did help out on that.
I rolled a 5.
Oh.
So he's got a man bun?
No. So some of the braids are a little bit zigzag. because my tension wasn't consistent. There's a tuft sticking out here, but I like tuck it in the back
I
of
have
one
a
of the
question.
braids.
Could you have rolled something that would, because you work on ropes, right?
Yeah,
tie
and
knots
I'm a
and
dwarf,
stuff.
so I braid my own stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like that would have. I feel like that would have had an effect.
yeah,
Maybe
'cause
dex-based instead?
that would be excellent if it was dex-based.
All right, what would you have done if it was dex-based?
A 10.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, it's good. It's not the
Yeah.
best. You can't say it's the best, but it's better than,
It's bearable.
it's bearable. So about 20 minutes, hair's been finished up and whatnot. And as you guys are sitting there taking a moment, I'm not sure if you're sticking around, but the sailmaster will walk up to your chair and look to Kodrog and you and say, and she's just kind of like looking for you to finish the rest of her words. Did you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's done, and it can be done again in how long, Thomas?
Thomas looks at an imaginary watch on his wrist and he goes, "Give it 30 minutes." And he like flips up his book again, sinks in his seat like I didn't do it.
She will look over to the captain's quarters and then squats down next to your chair and says, your skills and abilities are very useful at this point in time, but I really need to know when you're going to do that to be more useful. And she turns to you and says, we've lost minutes of time because we're going in the wrong direction now. We need to turn the ship more port side. And head toward the breach, and we're not heading directly toward the breach. Is there any way you can make this go away and do it again, like now or something? I hate to be pressed. I hate to press you. She stops for a moment. I know they call you something from your homelands, but I don't know it. I have never stepped foot on Marseille. But it's very important that the wind get cast at the same time in which things are being prepared.
Yeah, I can do it now. I don't have a title, right? It's just Thomas. And he'll sit up and close his book and he'll be like, just tell me when, and I will do what I do best.
She's like, all right, we're going to do this without the captain's attention. The wind is not strong the direction we want. She'll say, she's directing this towards you. She says, the wind is not strong in the direction we want to go. And so I'm going to give you guys some orders on how to cut the sails and how to prep them for when your wind kicks up and how the ship needs to be pointed. And when that happens, I will give you a sign. We're going to distract the captain while we do this, because we can't lose a whole day of sitting in the ocean, sitting here while we drift toward the breach. So she walks off and she goes to find Arthur, and you see that he's sitting at the other end of the boat, the bow of the boat, and he's smoking. And so she moves up there and sits down to talk to him for a little bit. She does the whole squatty next to, she's on the balls of her feet and she's talking, and Arthur kind of stands up, looks back down the way at Thomas, and then kind of like there's exchanging of words between the two of them. And so Arthur stands up and begins walking with Bon back to you guys. As Arthur's going, he stops. So as he's moving through, he will yell up, "Loosen that sail! You there, loosen that sail! Dimitri, bring those down! Kodrog, I want you up the main mast as high as you can get, and I want you to get some slack in those lines. Get it done now." And he walks past, and Bon walks up to you, and she says, I'm going to take the dinner bell with me. If you hear me ring it, that's when I want you to do it.
Aye, aye.
And she seems to have, she has a very scowly face, and she's always very serious, but she has almost like a small perch of a smile as she heads quickly back to the captain's quarters with Arthur. You guys Go ahead.
I would imagine that when Arthur looks at Thomas, he just kind of does this like, "Hi," like really awkwardly. I just wanted to point that out.
The senior staff, most of the senior staff, like Arthur and Bond, both have very serious, scowling faces. While the captain's kind of jovial, and the bosun she's just smiling all the time. She's like, "Yeah, it's a great job. I count things. I make sure shit doesn't get stolen. I make sure stuff gets in the boat. I love my job. I got a cool partner I work with. You know, she's happy." But the doctor, you guys don't ever get to see his face. Well, you see his face, but he doesn't have a smile because he's got these two mandibles that do like this. So, bam. They take off. They're in there talking. You're not sure exactly what's going on. The sails, every once in a while, Bond will come out, and the first mate will come out, the cabin boy that works, and he'll rush up and yell at somebody and say, "Bond needs you." And so they run back in, and then they come out, and one of the riggers comes up the sails and starts saying, "Bond needs this, she needs that, do that." And so you guys, there's no dice rolls or anything that need for this, but she's basically giving barks, and you guys are loosening the sails, and the rudder, she runs up at some point and she starts turning the rudder, and then she gets another, the cabin boy to hold on to the rudder, the wheelhouse, just like, keep it here, and then she runs back in, and you know she's running back and forth and making calculations. And then probably you've been sitting waiting for at least 15 minutes by the time you hear the dinner bell start ringing. Ding, 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 ding.
I will cast it immediately.
All right. And as she rings the dinner bell, she comes out, she drops the dinner bell, runs up to the wheelhouse, pushes the cabin boy out of the way, and she's holding the rudder. The sails just reach out and fill, and they're floppy, and the whole ship starts making like this jackknife maneuver where beforehand it was pointed at the land, and now it just starts to kind of like swirl to one side, and as your fingers come to an end and you feel the ship begin to lurch, you're like, "Oh, good thing your boots are sticking you to the deck." You're like, "Oh, this is kind of," and then you notice that the sea is starting to rise up as the whole ship is starting to turn to the point where the decking is starting to angle, and you're looking down into the ocean as the whole ship makes this really sharp turn as the wind catches it, and then as she's up on the wheel deck, she's like, "All right, stop that one! Stop that one!" She yells down to you.
I will try. I don't know if I can actually turn that off. I don't know if that's the type of spell that I can do.
There's a big old fat D next to the duration. When you see the D in the duration, that means it's dismissible.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
dismiss it.
And then she pulls out a cone that's sitting near the wheel helmet. She begins letting it go back, and she yells, as it starts to kind of loosen, as she's struggling with it, she pulls up the cone and she yells out, "Tighten all lines, tighten." And so, she starts yelling that. She hands it to the cabin boy. He starts yelling it too. As she begins bringing the rudder back around, and the ship just kind of starts to shift and move its mass back up. As it does so, she moves forward, grabs a hold of the railing, and she's watching as the lines are tightening, the wind's died down, and you're like standing at this like odd angle because the ship's doing, yeah. And then she's like, "Now, do it again! Do it now!"
Okay.
And she yells out real loud.
I will really conjure one up, I guess, and then just really focus and cast it beautifully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very stylishly.
Cast Empowered Gentle Breeze.
I look
Widened.
damn good doing it, too.
Hell yeah! Do you whip out the pointy hat and everything?
Oh, no, that's only to intimidate my foes.
Okay. Is this, so like, you're like, and the robes are blowing or something?
Yeah, he'll, as she does it, he'll, focus on one thing. He is a very, and he'll make, the actual gesture. He'll say the spell in Draconic, because I like to imagine that wizards and sorceresses say their spells in different languages.
They do. In the Shadow Dials, they speak in Draconic.
That's awesome, because that's just my own headcanon. His, as they're turning, he has a very steady stance, and his cloak is blowing, and his cloak has these, they're like lead bobbers that hold it down, so it's not gonna fly up in his face or anything, but it's just enough weight and to actually hold it in place, but it's still light enough where it can move around and look badass as he does it. So when he conjures it, the wind kind of swirls around him and makes this cloak move, and then it like goes forward in front of him towards the sails.
Awesome. All right, as she's doing that, she's bringing the wheel back around, forcing the rudder to kind of jackknife a little bit back in the other direction as the sails are popping and the ship starts moving. As she's holding on to it, she says, Thomas, if you can do that at as many times as possible, that would be really, really helpful. Just put everything into it now, she's yelling.
Okay, this is my fourth one. I have one left. But yeah, he'll do it again. He'll try to make it a little more intense.
Okay.
Yeah, he's more worried that he's gonna rip something in the sails. So, but he'll kind of do the same thing. He'll give this one a little more flair.
Ooh, more flair, more hand whippiness.
More more hand whipping.
All right. You do it another time, and the sails are full. They're nice and full. They're fattened, and they're pulled tight. And the ship is definitely moving. You can hear the water cresting under the Amberfall's long, lean body as it begins cutting into the waves with an amount of power that's great. You can feel the jerkiness of the wind pulling forward, the waves trying to push against, and you guys are fighting it. And then the sailmaster says, any more that you can give will be greatly appreciated. We've got to catch up, and this is the fastest way for us to do it. We've got to get to the edge. We've got to get there today. She yells.
Thomas will, he's, at this point, he's looking kind of exhausted. And he'll just kind of nod a bit, and he'll, really whip this one up and, really focus on like the actual like that it's gonna give. And then right after the wind kind of leaves him, he just kind of kneels for like on one knee for a bit, and then he like slowly stands up, and then he's like, that's it, I'm done. And he kind of like puts both hands on his knees and pants.
So this is the last of your spells, so we'll assume this one's coming from your spell book itself because the book has its own.
Yeah.
So this one, as you're doing it, you're holding the book out, and the wind is blowing the pages.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
All right. Kodrog, the winds, this is not like gale force winds, we're all worried, but the boat is rocking, and you can feel every once in a while a cross breeze just kind of like hit into the boat and into the sails. You can see it run across the sails, but this magical wind that's coming from Thomas or wherever it's coming from is definitely pushing back and filling the sails. And so little whirlwinds whip up on the deck from the two winds crossing, stuff like that. And, it's an amazing moment. The ship is fighting against Mother Nature itself. It's rather cool. What do you guys want to do? I'm going to give you guys like a little thing to do, and then I'm going to go into a description of the breach.
Ooh.
So I'm up in the mast,
yes,
taking commands. I'm listening for trim the sails here, slacken that line there to try and catch the most of Thomas's wind while we've got it. So I'm busy running across the what do they call that part of the mast?
Yard arms.
Yeah, the yard arms. Yeah. Running across the yard arms and swinging from line to line so that I can get where I need to be to pull a wind chirping.
Okay. And go ahead.
Thomas is where he is. He'll close his book up and I'll kind of lean on one of the many, like, I guess, sides. I kind of imagined it having like a railing right in front of him where he's doing this.
Yeah.
So he'll lean forward on his elbows and he'll just kind of, if anybody's paying attention to him, he's actually really admiring his work. And it's kind of like, yeah, I did this. And I didn't destroy anything. And he's just like, yeah. But he looks really tired, and I think he'll take a seat and like
Okay. All right. As you take a seat and you're resting, the cabin boy, who's, by the way, for the audience, the cabin boy is just referred to as cabin boy. He is just a boy who lives in the cabin, not with the captain, but on the ship. He's the runner, who does like extra things here and there. There is no first mate, so if you know anything about ships, some ships have a first mate. This one doesn't, and there's reasons for that. But the cabin boy is like his aide. That doesn't mean the cabin boy speaks specifically for the captain. He just runs errands. Anyways, the cabin boy will run forward over to Thomas and say, Master, are you okay? Do you need anything? I can fetch you some water.
Thomas. It's Thomas. And yeah, water will be great. Thank you.
All right, he takes off. He will return with water and say, thank you so much. I can see how happy you... I know how... I can see how happy you made the sailmaster. It's really great that you've done these things.
Yeah, happy to help. We're, my kind's very, powerful in this area, so...
I've always wanted to learn magic. My father was a member of the Purple Order, but I came here instead. Could you teach me?
Yeah, you know what? I can. It's not something that a lot of people can learn right away, but I can start you out with spells, and they're very not dangerous. So, when you're using them, they're helpful.
He'll smile. Bassianus will step in at this time and say, Thomas is tired. Let's let him get some rest and recuperate from his ordeal, and you and he can sit down and do some lessons later. And the cabin boy seems really excited, and he's like, of course, master. And he will turn and he'll rush back over toward the captain's quarters.
Before he goes, I want Thomas to ask him what his name is. He's like, if you're gonna be my apprentice, I'm gonna need a name.
And he doesn't have one. He's been a character in this game a couple times making appearances, and I just never gave him one. So, if we have an audience out there who's listening, maybe they should help us come up with a name for the cabin boy.
Do it! He's gonna be my apprentice. I gotta have a name for the kid.
Yes. Lucas.
It's cute.
All right. Lucas, the cabin boy.
Should write that down. I'll forget it if I don't.
I should write down, one of these days I should write down the entire list of the ship so I know who I'm talking to, because there's a lot of characters in that.
There are.
It can go over my head real quick.
Oh, don't worry. I'll keep you up to speed. All right, so with that happening, people doing their jobs, the cabin boy, sadly, he runs off to immediately tell the captain that the ship's moving quickly. We're doing great. And he doesn't get really good... the sailmaster is currently working the wheelhouse, so she doesn't really know what's about to happen, but she's not worried. She'll deal with the captain if she has to. And the captain's about to find out that you were finger wiggling on deck.
That's fine.
There's no rules against it. He just disdains the idea of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't yelled at Thomas for the little incident in the bar, so...
He's got reserve and poise when it comes to some things.
Yeah.
So it happens. It happens quickly. By the end of the day, you guys are approaching the edge. You're about to breach within hours. It starts off as the horizon, a small area on the horizon of the skyline itself has a bit of a purple tinge that begins growing from just a soft bluish purple to a deep purple to start going more and more red. right on the edge of the horizon. It doesn't matter if you're seeing the sunlight through it or something on the other side is glowing. The edge near the edge has a purple tinge to it. It looks like soft, vaporous field surrounded by like a mist. The mist generally kind of off colors it as you get closer and you can see it. Water laps up to the edge of this field and then bounces back. It's part of like this waves back. So it just kind of rolls. Sometimes the waves roll under and you can actually be dragged underwater if you don't have a strong enough or large enough boat. Or if you get in the right places, there's little to no waves and the boat just slides right on out. On the outside, there is wind. Lots of wind shears right off the edge of the breach. So the boat has to get as much speed as it possibly can, come up and either go straight at the edge and shoot through like a needle popping a balloon, or it has to roll up to the edge and just drift apart. And kind of like slide off. There's like several ways you can do it and get off the aisle. But the one thing you don't want to do is kind of slip off the aisle with your sails out because you might catch wind in the wrong places. And then suddenly you're being jerked all over the place. So as the ship has gained enough momentum and you're at the edge and the wind is now blowing behind you guys, the sailmaster, the quartermaster are both calling for all sails to be brought in and that you're going to cruise through the breach. And the task is quick. You do a short deployment, short putting away. So you bring the sails down and you just wrap them gingerly around, and then you take the ropes and you swing them so they're not tied, they're just hanging there, all clumped up, ready to be undone quickly because on the other side it's going to be fast. All shifts are brought on board at this time. Third shift is brought into the rigs themselves for the main masts and all masts associated with top deck. First shift is going to do the lower starboard side sails, while the second shift is going to do the lower port side sails. So you two, plus I think it was, who else was in the first shift with you guys? Oh yeah, Larry.
Yep.
And Inu.
Fucking Larry.
You four go down into the lower deck as the ship is making this drive toward the edge. There's no sails, no power. You're cruising, and the waves are just rolling underneath the boat, pushing it ever so gently forward, like a quarter of a knot. So you guys get down in there. Gaz is already down in the belly of the ship. There's a huge, huge metal pot raised up with inside of another metal pot, all insulated. And inside this pot, there's wood and charcoal that have been superheated. And inside that, there are these long knives. They're called deck knives. And a deck knife is a blade that is about wafer thin as you can get them, razor sharp on either side, and jagged edged that come all the way down to a point. And they're just plain pig iron. They're nothing special. You could use one in combat and you're probably going to mess somebody up, but they're not good for a long-lasting fight. And so as you guys get down in there, it's only the strongest of you who are given the deck knife to do the cutting. So Larry automatically doesn't have that. Enu's sporting a +1 to his strength.
I'm probably the one that gets it.
The only other thing that I could offer is Bastianus' help if he's willing, because I think he's strong, because my strength's a solid 10. So.
Yeah, I don't think that Bastianus would have the crewmanship skill, so he might not know what to do.
Yeah, he's going to make more of a mess than anything. And Gaz is already putting the ixnay on. Nope, he's not a crewman. Get him out of here. There's going to be big things moving around. The last thing I want to know is that somebody got hurt. So what is Kodrog's strength bonus?
+4.
Oh, heck yeah, you got this in spades. You need a +2 to be able to use the knife. So as you move forward, I'm going to do the descriptions of what happens for this part of the breaches so you guys know how this all works out. At the bottom of the Amber Falls, there are 2 large holes that are filled with cork and tar. Hard bits of tar. Sitting next to those holes are masts that stretch the length of the inside of the ship. and all of the yard arms that are attached to them. These masts are specially designed. They fold up, and they are brought in and out of the ship as it enters and leaves the breach. So as Kodrog, you move forward quickly. Thomas, knowing your task, you move forward to begin making sure the lines are wound up with the help of Inu. And Kodrog, you move forward to pull the knife out, and it's red hot. He's been stoking these billows. These blades have gotten hot. You pull your blade out. It is 3.5 foot of red hot steel. And this is the fun begins. As you take the blade, you plunge it into the tar that is between the cork and the actual ship. And you begin sawing through this hot tar to cut this cork out. Larry comes over, lazily puts a hook into the backside of the cork, which is a loop, and he hooks it on, and he begins pulling on it. And so he puts his weight into it, and he's literally dangling there. It's not really that much. And so you saw with this hot blade through tar, trying to cut the cork free. And it's large. It is about a meter by a meter in size. And so then you have to run back over and throw it in, and the smell of burning tar is everywhere. It's in your eyes, it's in your nose. You whip out another one of the deck blades, run over, begin stabbing into the next side, cutting, and you can feel the whole cork is beginning to pull up. And then finally you cut off the last side, and Larry is just dangling, kicking, laughing, like, yeah, come on, you can get it. And then finally a hot black mess pops out, spraying tiny bits of tar here and there, getting into your beard and onto your clothing. I'm pretty sure you're wearing clothing.
Not the beard.
I'm pretty sure you're wearing clothing that protects your beard, and as well as clothing that you want to get tar on, and not your normal clothes. Some sort of leather pieces.
Yeah, well, there's the like a leather butcher's apron that you would put on before you would start sawing away at that tar, because you definitely don't want it to get on your skin or anything exposed.
Hell yeah. And then you pull the blade off and you run back over and you stick it into the fire, because that's one thing you don't drop as a hot deck knife. It will go through the deck.
Yeah.
Or catch fire to the deck. And then it's really bad. And so he hoists up this tarry, burning mass. The hole is, so he's to pull it up. And it pulls up a short distance, probably, because it's probably about 2 foot in length. And so he starts to pull it up. And, he waits at that point in time not to pull it all the way up, and you can see the water just starts coming into the boat at this point in time, because you just popped the hole in the bottom of the boat. But it's fine. The other team did it too. This is actually how it's supposed to be. Outside the ship, the Amber Falls is moving forward. The call from the captain, "All hands ready." Arthur sits there and says, "All hands are ready, sir." And he says, "Forward with the breach. Pull the plugs." "Aye, aye, sir. The plugs are being cut as we speak." And he's like, Boone, are we ready to move? Are we going to make it through? And she's like, "We've got plenty of speed. We're on course." And she's at this point in time, like, manning the rudder. And the front of the ship hits it. That edge. You on the inside of the ship will see it. It will pass through the boat like a ghostly image. This wall of redness and these vapors will just pass over you. What does it feel like? It feels like a lifting passes through your body. Down here in the lower decks, there are no grindstones. You begin to float. As the water comes gushing in, Larry gives one final push against the ceiling to pull his cork all the way up. The opening is before you. This meter by meter wide, tar-covered, sizzling opening is ready to have the mast ran through it. And Thomas, with the help of Inu, on the no too far away, begin pulling on pulleys and the ropes, and the mast begins to level out. Thomas runs down the way, takes a large piece of wood, throws it under one section of the mast, it picks it up, and so it starts leveling it out. Inu does the same, and so the mast begins making more and more angles as it begins to ride its short ride to be projecting outside the ship. It's fast. You guys move quickly. Both masts, and these are monstrous. These are like tree-sized objects shooting down this corridor, so everybody's hunkering. Don't stand up! Don't stand up! As these trees... As these trees shoot past you covered in yard arms, cloth, and line. The ends of them are large, rounded blocks. So at some point, there's a pinch point between the opening and the bottom of the mast. Guess where you don't want your hands to be? Yeah, exactly.
I like my hands.
Larry's that guy, though. He's got his hand out, and he's touching the mast as it goes riding by, like, oh, yeah, here it goes. And whack. Yeah. Laughs at the whole scenario. Kodrag, I mean, you get eye to eye, and he thinks it's funny as heck that he was touching it before it slammed in there.
Thomas is like this. Like, he has his hands to his chest. Like, these things are precious to him. Like,
Yeah, Kodrag just his head at Larry. You know, I mean, it's his hand if he loses it. Not mine.
Exactly. All right. At this point in time, Gaz will turn to all of you as he's now holding on to a bit of rope, a peg that attaches to the deck himself, that holds him to the deck, and he's just like, all right, you monkeys, get out there and start getting those yards out. Let's get some sails ready to fly. We got to wait for Boone to tell us what's next. And he begins moving down as he begins working the ropes and giving you guys tons of slack outside the ship. Inu moves forward, grabs a section of the ship, and begins unscrewing a large lock, and then pulls it to one side in an opening from the inner belly, like the same as the cork, but it's small. It's big enough. It's huge to Inu. Ample size for you guys to slide out. And so he opens it, and he just dives out into a darkness filled with stars.
Yeah, I'll follow him out there. I gotta get on these masts and get the sails ready.
Pulling yourself out of the opening, you immediately grab a hold of the handle. Inu is walking down the outside of the ship with his arms as he flips around and sticks his boots, because at this point in time, that's all he's wearing, as he's was not working with the Tari substance, so he didn't put on anything but a pair of pants and his boots. He flips around and sticks his boots to the outside of the ship, and before you, the masts are just like this huge collection of like a spiderweb covered trees sticking out from the bottom half of the boat of the Amber Falls.
Now, are there any safety lines for when you're out here outside the ship in the void?
Yes, that's the first thing a rigger does, is move to the bottom of the mast and prepare all safety lines. You don't go up without safety lines unless you're crazy like Larry.
who's already probably up there. Like,
Yeah, Larry slides out of the hole because he's kind of skinny and whatnot, and he just shoots himself into the yard arms.
Yeah, so while I'm tying myself off to my safety line, I'm like eyeing everyone else to make sure that they're doing their safety line, except for Larry. Larry can float off on his own. That's cool.
bye, Larry. Like,
I'll bring an extra line with me in case I need to save Larry.
Oh, that's so kind of you.
Yeah, just in case. If I can get to him in time.
All right. As you begin climbing the mast, the wind here whips violently. You look back and you can see the edge of the aisle growing in your point of view. This gigantic sphere in which the ship is half in and half out. You can't see the upper deck. You're only looking at the bottom half. And you realize, oh man, there's barnacles down there. We've been sitting in water long enough to pick up barnacles. Guess what domestics are probably going to be on the list tomorrow.
Yep.
But you can see the water, and it has a purple tinge to it. You see a mass of fish swim by as you're tying your line looking. You can see birds. You can see them starting to fade as you're getting farther away. The colors of the aisle begin to blur. Where land is, where the air is, where the water begins. They just become like this matted colors of blues, browns, greens, and whites. Finally, the Amber Falls finishes its breach, and the last of the rippling of this magical aura that surrounds the isle ceases to become violent and just goes back to its gentle, rolling self. Everything's wet out here, the ship-wise, because it was just underwater, and Bond's voice will carry out, all sails 1/4, lower deck, starboard, full quarter. One half, So she's calling you guys to put only half the sails together, which means it's a bottom to top scenario. And you know these things as a good crewman. Woohoo! 400 points of cheer from original box set. That, by the way, is my wonderful wife down enjoying her time at Disney. I hope you're having fun, honey.
Ride all the rides. Buy all the things. Also, thanks for them bits.
Hell yeah. So, it's peaceful, it's quiet. Outside here, inside the ship, it's blistering hot right now because of that furnace of coal and warming stones. But out here, it's cool. It's not ice cold, it's like air conditioning, it's in a comfortable afternoon. The wind is still blowing, and as you guys are working the sails, what do you want to do?
Thomas is going to get out from under the ship because if it's hot in there, he's not about that life. He's in a full cloak with armor on his arms and legs. So I think he'll just he'll walk out and he'll just admire the beauty of it. And he'll just mutter to himself, like, this will never not be beautiful. And he'll just kind of watch it.
So you pull yourself out into the porthole, and so you're sitting in the porthole, holding onto the edge of it. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just sit cross-legged and I'll hold on to it.
Yeah, you see some of the beautiful rings, the asteroids, the rocks that pass around on that side, go streaking through. A couple of bits of dirt bounce off the Amber Falls hull. You can see a shooting star. You can see tons of stars in the distance. The nearest star is the one that Kadaf uses, and it is a beautiful reddish-orange star. And from where you're at, you can see it almost at the distance. You're not supposed to stare at them too much. They can make you go blind. Kodrog, you see that Thomas is taking in the view, but has yet to secure a safety line. Do you want to...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, so as I'm moving around the yardarms, prepping lines and loosening the sails, we're getting ready for the command to release them. I look down and see Thomas wide-eyed looking out into the stars. His grasp on the hull is loosening ever so much, and I shout down to Thomas, tie yourself off and make yourself useful if you're gonna be out here.
Yeah, I imagine he's kind of daydreaming a bit, and as you called him, he'll jump and he'll be like, "Yeah, right, okay," and he'll do exactly that.
Okay. There's no check necessary while you're next to the ship to avoid floating off. I'll let you guys know this ahead of time. If anything makes you do a reflex save and you're on the ship, there's a chance you can fall off the boat.
Great.
As long as you're next to the boat, you'll be fine. You can grab onto the boat somehow to get away. There are handholds all over this thing. It's when I say it's a sleek, smooth, it's not really. It's not. But if for whatever reason, if you miss that second reflex acrobatics roll to grab a hold of something, unless someone else comes for you, that's it.
I have spells.
You do.
Animated rope, motherfucker! Come on.
Dr. Strange gets back to the ship.
Yeah. It
All right.
will really look like.
With the guidance of the sailmaster, you guys prep the sails. The shift is long. It lasts at least a good 3 to 4 hours of whatnot, because other than putting out the sails and the masts, you guys go back and help set up the tiller masts at the back end of the boat. So at some point, you're walking down the underbelly of the Amber Falls while she's drifting and being slightly controlled until you guys get to the back of the ship and you put in the tiller sails, which are large sails that are used to control the ship, and start running the lines. And so at some point, you guys are underneath the ship. I can't call it really the underneath, but you're underneath the ship, and you're chipping off barnacles as Gaz opens a porthole and begins feeding lines through to you so that you can set these sails up. in the end, I can only describe. Man, I have a picture somewhere. I'll have to dig it out and show you guys. But if you can imagine, it kind of looks like a giant wooden rocket ship with 3 masts coming out, almost like a triangle shape. And that's how it. And it's got near the front, it's got some. Near the back, it's in the middle of the section. It's got these 3 large masts that make it look like a triangle. And in the back, it's got these sails that are designed to specifically control where the back end is pointed at. All right, this has been a lot of stuff, a lot of things going on, and we are going to do is a short break, and so we will be back in about 10 minutes.
Nice.
Be right back.